Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. So for this Monday's Momentum, I thought we'd look at what's the one biggest struggle that your child faces with their English literature. And I think you'll probably be surprised by what that might be. You see, many parents, when speaking to me or their children speak to me, they often say, oh, I don't understand the plot, or I don't understand the characters. And then when we start to unpick that, it's very apparent that they do. They are able to retell the plot, which is basically the events of a narrative. They're able to explain, what the quotes are. They're able to talk about the quotes that stand out for them. So it's not understanding the text. It's not understanding the plot. It's not understanding the characters, because again, when I ask them character-based questions, they can answer them quite well. And then the second thing that students often say is that they find it difficult to memorize the quotes in a text. And again, when we look at whether that is really what's going on, it doesn't tend to be. And there's a few reasons for this. One, it's because often these students have got fantastic memories. They're able to memorize facts for science, for math, geography, history, for other subjects. So it's just about reminding them to transfer those skills to their English. And also, many schools, teachers will give students set quotes to learn for their set text. So they will give them some of the key quotes for characters, themes, and from different areas of the novel or the play. Equally, in schools, they will go through the set text with them. So they tend to read them as a class and discuss extracts. And your child should be reading them at home as well. And if they're not, they can also listen to audiobooks to help them to follow it. So it's not actually understanding the text, even if the language is a bit challenging, or even memorizing quotes. So what is the biggest struggle? So when we go deep into it, it's actually being able to link it to the social historical context. The social historical context is a fancy way of just saying the period in which the writer was writing in. And of course, your surroundings, the events that happen, shape your perspective, shape how you view the world, and therefore shape your writing style. And it can be very challenging for students, because too often where they go wrong is they either don't link it at all, so they miss out completely, or they make these links that are, very, very, they're just not specific, they're very tenuous, because they more or less just retell history and try to make that connection, they force it. And so it doesn't make sense. So how can you help your child to develop this skill? Well, discuss with them current affairs. I'm not saying it has to be negative or anything like that. Discuss things that are happening in the world. It can be positive and of course, age appropriate as well, depending on how old your child is. So if they are younger, then you want to make it so that it's not all of the doom and gloom that we might see in the news. If they're a bit older, then you might want to touch on some of those topics. But think about what's shaped your views, your opinions, so you can even reflect on your life experiences. What were some of the things that have happened or you've seen that have helped to shape your opinion on matters? And then think about what's happened and reflect on what's going on now, or even a few years ago with the pandemic, for example, and how that may have shaped people's opinions, views. And you can then touch upon like vaccines and, yes, they can be quite controversial topics, but it's important to have those discussions so that your child is developing that critical awareness, and so that they're able to make direct links between events and what's happening with writers' writing styles. And I think that's the biggest tip that I'd like you to take away. So my challenge for you for this Monday Momentum is this week, try to engage in that kind of critical conversation with your child. Just has to be, 5 minutes a day, if you can do that. If not, even just one conversation this week. And that will help them to start to make the links between what's going on in the wider community globally and how people then write about it, talk about it. And that will help them then to try to be more specific in their writing, when they are, writing critical essays on their set text for literature. So make sure you do that. Let me know in the comments, what comes up from that conversation. Otherwise, have a fantastic week. Remember, we're going to have our Tuesday tips tomorrow, so do look out for that. Have a great week. Bye for now.